Hello and welcome back. I guess I'm a little shy today, so I decided to faint under the cover of a bush so nobody sees what I'm doing. And hopefully nobody saw me except this lynx here, the moor stalker. Welcome back, friends. Today we have to meet up with Prestadir outside the ruins of Eiteldir, north of Thornhead, which is right here. And we're about to do just that. There he is. Let's talk to him. Prestadir waits patiently for you to arrive. Yeah, you've probably waited for a couple of days. Don't envy you. Here I am, though. Thank you for coming, Basabor. The Dunedain have long protected folk who dwell on the edge of the wilderness, but we could not do so if our hearts were troubled. Our own families reside within the angle of Mitotil, and if we are certain they live in safety, the obligation we have sworn is more readily performed. So basically, less challenges, better performance. Interesting. So it is that the Dunedain conduct patrols such as these on the outskirts of Mitotil and on the approaches to Thornhead. In times of danger, the village can be evacuated and we move our families to a number of caves in the outlying hills. I see. It has happened more and more often in recent years, an unwelcome change every time, but necessary. It is a cause of sadness for the old-timers, and a pleasing lark for the children, but for me it justifies our caution. A pleasing lark for the children, I like that. What say you? Will you patrol these ruins with me? Certainly. Glad to help with such endeavors. Then let us begin, and remain alert for anything that might threaten the safety of Thornhead and its people. Remain alert for anything that might threaten the safety of Thornhead and its people. It says here, okay. Usually there's more description in the beginning, but not this time. That's fine. I'm not as well versed in the history of this land as some of my folk, but I know enough to share some of it with you, Basabor. Certainly, I'm curious because we didn't learn that much about the area yet. 7 centuries into the Second Age, the great elf-smith Celebrimbor journeyed from Lindon to dwell in the holy forests at the foot of the Misty Mountains. That realm came to be known as Eregion, and it was the birthplace of many great works and treasures of craft. The heart of Celebrimbor's realm lay to the south of the Loudwater, but the elves drove out the trolls and hostile Amonadine in between, constructing outposts in the wooded hills on the border marches. The chief of these was this stronghold, Eiteldir. Oh, see, that's very excellent lore. Built to watch the crossings of the Horwell and to keep open the road to Lindon. The governance of the keep was given to Oranorion, an older companion of Celebrimbor. She had served as a captain in the wars against Morgoth, and was renowned for both her loyalty and her ferocity. So that's some more major lore. Here, follow me, Basabor. I shall. I'm excited now. Okay. Wow. Look at the place. Look at the place now. This place has seen better days. And worse. I can imagine. Though not much worse, I say. Ravedron lived here when Eiteldir was young. But his people have not resided in Eiteldir for many centuries. It is home now only to orcs, and to brigands, and to beasts. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Drop your coins on the ground and you might leave with your lives, says brigand leader. Okay. I offer you the same choice. But keep your coins. We want them not. Yeah, stop laughing, dude. Get them, boys! Oh yeah? Let's see how this ends. And now what, huh? Oh, more of you, okay. Some ranged attack people. Fine. Okay. I have to deal with those alone with the archers? Yes, defeating archers is my specialty. My specialty, not yours, huh? That is the last of them, Basabur. How do you know? How do you know those things, huh? Anyways, when Prestadir a little earlier mentioned that this place has seen better days, but also worse, when it comes to worse, I imagine he meant the presence of more evil than those brigands we had to defeat now, and not so much about, you know, how this you know, how ruined the place is physically, right? That will be my guess. Alright, let's press on. I would not have begrudged them the shelter if they came but by it honestly, and turned not to robbery. But alas, it was not so. Wow, and they threatened our lives, you know. Prestadir gazes up at the sky, peering into the unknowable heights. It looks like rain, he says, and then returns his gaze to earth. Yeah, it's pretty cloudy. We have heard of the War of the Elves in Sauron, Vasselbor, in which the Dark Lord sought mastery over the works of Eregion? I have, indeed. Celebrimbor perceived the designs of Sauron, but there was little time to prepare for the destruction that awaited the elves. The story of that war is a sad one, Vasselbor. The defenses of Eregion were overrun. Celebrimbor was captured and slain. Elrond fled with the survivors of Eregion and established a hidden haven in the mountains. That was Imladris, Basabor, as you know. Right. There's a great intro to the background of Imladris, yes, that was great. Oranoriel took charge of the remaining soldiers following the death of Celebrimbor. Only her great skill of command kept the defeat from becoming an inescapable bloodbath, and she ordered her people to retreat. At the Hollin Ridge, she watched with horror as Sauron's forces marched behind the ghastly banner they had made of the once proud elfsmith. Knowing a similar fate awaited her if she was caught, Oranoriel devised a scheme to save what of her people she could. She chose a small force from her own household and tricked Sauron's army into pursuing them. Wow, that's quite a skill there. On a grim chase, she led them across the Bruinen into the Angle, while the bulk of her kindred escaped by secret paths into the mountains and then to Elrond's young refuge. Ravedron was one of these. Really? Oh wow. So he's not as young as I thought he was. And he never forgot his last sight of... I mean, to be fair, I didn't think he was a young elf, but I didn't deem he so ancient. Anyways, and he never forgot his last sight of Oranorius' company disappearing over the ridge, pursued by Sauron's foot soldiers. And yet, after all those ages, Ravedron still can act kind of childishly and in a naive way with respect to his human friends, is what I'm referring if you've seen my previous episodes. Anyways, that's great. Let's continue. This way, Basabor. Which exactly? Yes, please show me the way. Okay. Through here. Okay. Watch your step. I shall. Carefully. Yes, I'm still careful. The churning waters of the Horwell rush by, far below. Oh yeah, it's a big river actually. Ah, here comes the rain. I thought so. Oronorius' company evaded the armies of the Dark Lord until they reached Eiteldir. But when they arrived below the stronghold, they found the crossing of the Horwell already held against them. A brief siege followed, but the orcs far outnumbered the few elves that remained. The gates were broken, and the keep razed. One by one, the companions of Oronoriel perished, until only she and 3 others remained. Together, they performed one last act of defiance, fighting their way through the trunk to Celebrimbor's body, and prizing it from the clutches of the orcs. With her last dying strength, Oronoriel, now the last living elf in Eiteldir, took up the smith's corpse and leapt from the precipice into the foaming waters of the Horwell. Wow. Wow. And so even in his victory, Sauron was robbed of his trophies, and his anger was without match. Furious that many of the Noldor had eluded him, and unable to find where they had fled, Sauron invaded Eriador from the angle, intending to crush the realm of Lindon. Instead, he found the men of Númenor waiting for him, for they had answered the call of Gil-galad, and the combined forces of elves and men broke Sauron's strength. From whence came the final blow? Why, it came from Elrond and the folk of Imladris, for when their strength was recovered, they returned with a fire in their hearts, and Sauron could not stand against them. Defeated, it was his turn to flee. To Mordor, he escaped. Yeah, I cannot emphasize enough how important that piece of history is. That is great. Okay. After the war, the elves searched both the Horwell and the Grey Flood for the remains of Oronoriel or Celebrimbor, but they found no signs of either. This precipice became a place of pilgrimage for many of the Noldor, particularly for those who flight to Rivendell. For those whose flight to Rivendell she had bought with her life, yes indeed. Ravadron was one of these, Passport, and I know it is not easy for him to walk today in the angle, with such memories as these still fresh in his mind. Yeah, that I understand. Eregion remained desolate after the War of the Elves, and Sauron, its shattered halls crumbling with the passage of the years, becoming overgrown with grass and vine. But the stones remember with what transpired, and so do those who were there. Yeah, and some of those are still alive. This is why I do not gainsay Ravadron his choice to leave Middle-earth. If that is the peace he desires, I want him to have it. Sure. That was awesome. Great. Okay. Let's see what else Prestadine can tell us here. I thank you again for hearing me out, Passport. I cannot begin to understand the burden that Ravadron must feel when he walks in this land. I want him to depart these shores and find the peace his heart deserves. I hope you feel the same, and will help him accomplish it. Let us return now to Thornhat. Okay. Well, do we have any other business here? I think maybe the next thing we want to do is find Mandan by one of the rivers northeast of Thornhat, around here. Right? I think that would make sense. Yeah. So I'll meet you over there. Here am I, galloping with my boar through the fresh grass here, beautiful plants, hoping to find Mandan, and hoping that he hasn't gotten into a big trouble and just gathering herbs and whatnot. Okay. An Avank here attacked me, and an old breaker archer who somehow can wield bows and arrows while being immaterial. I've seen stranger things despite that. But yes, I'm convinced now that what Prestadine referred to earlier, that the place has seen a worse place, It was the presence of Sauron and his army, of course. Not so much the physical destruction. Okay, let's see. So... oh yeah, I see him. He looks okay. Mandan searches for useful herbs to be made into salves and poultices. Okay. So, you just got carried away doing that, didn't you? I'm in no danger, Basabur, but I'm flattered that Mitrandan sent you to assist me with the collection of the herbal remedies I seek. Unless he sent you that, he might be spared coming all this way himself? Probably. Aye, that was probably it. Yes, I agree. Well, you're here now. I have been looking to collect the substance that gives glowflies their luminescence, as well as some sharp reeds from the riverbank I can use to stir my various concoctions. Yes, where was I? Oh, I would also appreciate it if you picked up some of the mushrooms that sprout in the damp alongside the river. I don't really need the mushrooms, but gather them up all the same if you would. Well, if you don't need them. Why? Okay. Well, okay, so now what do we need to do? We need to collect luminescent gel from glowflies. Okay. That shouldn't be too hard as long as we find enough of them. And collect sharp reeds for the riverbank, from the riverbank, okay. Am I collecting mushrooms because they're inedible or dangerous and that's why I'm getting rid of them? But that's not the good way to do it, right? Okay, sharp reeds. Damp mushroom. This damp mushroom smells rather unpleasant. I don't know. I'm curious now about the mushrooms. Okay. We need a little bit more gel. Okay. Collected damn mushrooms, even though Mandan doesn't want them. 2 out of 3. So funny. Okay, and then there are the sharp reeds here. The edges of these reeds are quite sharp and demand careful handling if you are to avoid slicing your hands on them. Yeah, I have tough gloves, so that helps a lot. Okay. Let's see what's next. Yeah, more glowflies, that'll be good. We're done with the glowflies. Now, where would we find more of the mushrooms and the reeds? So the reeds are all along the water, I imagine. But what about the mushrooms? So we have gathered... Oh, only 3 mushrooms is what we need. We already gathered 3. So that's good. Very well. And another damp mushroom here. Okay. Hopefully he'll give us a little more feedback on the mushrooms. Collected them mushrooms even though Mandan doesn't want them. That's probably one of the best collection texts I've ever seen. You brought me everything for which I asked? Good. Even the mushrooms? Mandan inspects the underside of the mushroom caps and points out the scarlet ribbons that lance outward from the gills. Some of the animals that forage along the riverbanks chew the caps while they forage for food, but these are quite inedible. I'd like to remove any of this variety that I see to keep the beasts from getting sick. I see, well, but there's a better strategy, because they'll keep growing, you know? You have to destroy what's under the soil, but, you know, that can destroy some other stuff too. So anyways, what if they're in symbiosis with some of the plants here, and the plants need the hyphae? Anyways, thank you for helping me collect them, though I have no use for them. but these other items will be of use to me and to the Dunedain. If you see it done before I do, well, as long as I defeat this Avant, I probably will. Tell him I was fine and had everything handled. Surely he has other things about which he can worry. Well, that was one significant worry of his, I think, because, you know, it's about you. You're a human. You're, might be strange, but you are definitely part of the community and you're very helpful there as a healer, so... But anyways, he might have even more significant concerns. Let's see. Yes, I will meet you back at the town of Thornhat. Ah, the colors at sunset. How golden. Well, first things first, let's talk to Ravedron now that we know much more about him. Over here.
Megovanen.
Welcome back, Basubur. While you and Prestadir were gone, I received assurances from the others of his folk that they will keep out a watchful eye for the Stagscorns when I am gone. Stagscorns. So that is all right. What did you and he speak about while you were away? You seem rather weak.
Mind my words, traveler.
I see. Yes, Prestadir spoke true. This land holds many unhappy memories for me. It was many years before I walked these fields again, and my friends among the stores eased those hurts somewhat. But they did not long stay here. When they departed, I did too, and wished not to return. Only the wish of Elrond or his sons could bring me back to Mitteltil, and so it was. I found no sign of the Black Riders they sought, but I did befriend Madoc and Glenys Stagscorn, and that friendship was a bright memory unlike those I have of Sauron's war upon the elves. I hope I have not damaged its foundation. I don't think so. But that has given me an idea, Basselbur. The Stagscorns have lived in the Angle for most of their years, but they have not the long lives of the Eldar. This has always been a land of beauty for them, unmarred by the memory of war. I will give to them a gift, a painted landscape of Mitteltil, and that will repair the hurts done by our quarrel. It's not a bad idea. I have not forgotten the lessons of Wenna, the painterly store I once knew in Glenafon. We will fashion the pigments I need from natural materials found throughout Mitteltil, and so will the painting be made of the landscape it represents. Or maybe we can just borrow paintings from, or like paint from somebody here in the town. This is going to work, Basselbur. Okay, have it your way. Can I ask you to help me collect the soft stones I will need to make these paints? You'll find them alongside riverbanks throughout the Angle. I'll meet you outside Telgard when we have enough, for I believe from that high place I will find a vista worth painting. Yes, it's a beautiful area. Beauty of the land.
Megovanen.
Very well. I'm on board. Having said that, we shall continue next time, my friends. Take care. I'll see you soon for more adventures. Goodbye.